Joe, Michigan. Well, a little cornfield right outside St. Joe called Baroda. But it's good to be back in Michigan. Good to be with y'all. We are Vote Common Good. We're traveling the country trying to encourage people of faith to make a change on Election Day. And this is a little song we sing together. And if you'd like, you can jump in with me and just shout out, "Everybody's got," and I'll sing the rest. Everybody's got a sidewalk to walk on. Everybody's got a road to go down, and everybody's got somewhere to get to. Everybody everywhere with glory found now. Everybody's got a sidewalk to walk on. Everybody's got a road to go down now. Everybody's got somewhere to get to. Everybody everywhere with glory found now. Everybody's got a sidewalk to walk on. Everybody's got a road to go down now. Everybody's got somewhere to get to. Everybody everywhere with glory found now. Everybody everywhere with glory found now. Everybody everywhere with glory found.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have done that together before. Daniel and I have been traveling around the country with this other band of Vote Common Do-Gooders. And we like to sing that little song, "Everybody's got a sidewalk, everybody's got a road to go down." We've been going down the road in that big bus home. It's just faith, hope, and love for a change on Election Day since January 2nd. We've been starting right outside the White House. We wanted to send the people in the White House a message. And then we've been traveling to all 50 states where we did get cut off. We didn't make it to all 50 because of COVID. And we were at home then from March through April 15th. Now we've been back out. We're going to be back here in Michigan a couple of weeks from now, but this whole weekend we're going to be over in Holland and in Grand Rapids and over there in Warren. Now you might wonder why we're doing all this. Well, we're doing it because as beautiful as this looks out here, as picturesque as it is in East Muskegon today, as wonderful as it is on this lovely day, we know there's some things in this world that just don't sit so well with our souls. Amen? You feel it? There's some things that aren't right. There's some things that aren't going the way we want them to go. Now, we know there's a lot of problems. This little crew of ours, we did our own little walk from Charlottesville, Virginia, all the way to Washington, D.C., because we wanted to say that this country needs a racial reckoning. We know that racial reckoning is something that needs to happen in this country. And we know that income inequality is something that's got to be addressed in this country. And we know that the damage to the environment is something that has to be addressed in this country. We know that there are issues that are bigger than the president. And we know that having a new president is not going to solve every single problem. But we also know that the president shouldn't be the problem. And what we're doing is we're out here to say we're going to solve that problem on November 3rd. Then we're all going to get back together. And we're going to solve the other problems that need to happen in this country. One of them is we've got to take care of who the congressional representative is in the 2nd Congressional District of the great state of Michigan, and that's going to be replaced by Christy Burkhoff. But we're going to get to that in a little bit. Now, we've been traveling around this state, and we're looking people in the eye, and we're telling them we need faith, hope, and love to bring a change on Election Day. Now, we're here not just to remind you, we're here to recruit you. So, of course, tonight, we're going to be recruiting you. We're going to be asking you to join us. And it can sound an awful lot like we're going to be picking on old Donald Trump tonight. I got to tell you, as a pastor, as somebody who thinks that everybody is the light of the world, the salt of the earth, the beloved child of God, it can feel a little bit dirty to have to travel around and remind people to not vote for the president. In fact, sometimes we have to quote the president, and we have to be careful when the kids are around because there's things you can't say that the president says all the time. So one of the things that we're doing is reminding people, sure, Donald Trump is just like the rest of us, the light of the world, the salt of the earth, beloved child of God. But not every light of the earth or light of the world should be the president of the United States. And this man shows us on a regular basis that he is unfit for the office and he's unwilling to change in order to be a decent president. We're going to send that message on Election Day that these things are going to change. Now, we're not here to change your mind about Donald Trump. Look, all the people that watch us online, the people that are here tonight, we're not here to convince you that Donald Trump is a problem. I like to think that man is like a self-cleaning oven. He does all the work for you. So we're not going to be here to convince you to not vote for him. We're here to convince you that you should do the right thing on Election Day. In fact, we're not here to talk about what the problem is of the president. We're here to remind you what's right about you, and that is that you know what is good, and you know what is just, and you know what is kind, and we're going to call you to join us in that activity on November 3rd, and we're going to call you to recruit your friends to do the same thing. Now, we're really glad to see you all here tonight because we travel around the country, and frankly, you wouldn't believe this, but people tell us no. They tell us no all the time. Sometimes churches say, hey, you can't have a political get-together in our parking lot. And then there's people that are in politics, and they say we get a little nervous when people start talking about faith, hope, and love. We pulled up in Iowa outside of a get-together with poor Pete Buttigieg, great guy. We were there to support him. Pulled up with a bus that said faith, hope, and love on it, and everybody thought we were right-wingers. Everybody thought we were there to support the president. Scared the poor campaign half to death. So people get nervous when politicians start seeing faith, hope, and love show up. And we don't think that faith, hope, and love should be owned by any political party, and it certainly isn't owned by the Republicans. So no matter how often people hear it, people of faith, hope, and love don't only vote for Republicans, and you all are here tonight to be a testimony and a testament to that, and we're super glad that you're here. So there's people that tell us no, politicians, churches. We even got asked to move our bus out of a Goodwill parking lot, if you can believe it. Got kicked out of a Goodwill parking lot. So when we find people that say yes to us, to join together and bring about a change on Election Day, we get pretty excited. And you know who said yes to us? Well, you all did. You're a bunch of yes men and women, so we're glad to see you here, and we hope that you're going to vote for yes on Election Day. And you know who else said yes to us? Miss Michelle Tyson said yes to us, and we're super glad that she did. So Michelle, would you be good enough to come up here and tell the good people why you said all this? Now, you're going to notice this little thing we do between speakers that we take on and off our own little coverings on these microphones. So do you have your own covering on a microphone? Well, I'd just be glad to give you one there, dear Michelle. There you go. We've got these things coming out of our pockets. So I'm going to pull that one off and hand it over to you there, Michelle. And do you want to keep this on the stand, or do you want to hold it?
Everyone, I am so glad to see everyone who came out today. I appreciate it. I know some of you came out at the last minute, so I really appreciate this. I appreciate them reaching out to me to come out to do this, because voting is very important. I feel like if we vote and we encourage our youth from 18 to 40 to vote, our future can change. Our future is our children. Anybody from 18 and under, they can't vote. So if we don't get out and vote, their voices can't be heard. We have to realize that we have to be their voice also, as well as our own voice. So I'm encouraging everyone who is here to take this information today that you received, take it back to wherever your community is and share it with those. And make sure they understand the importance of voting, especially our people from 18 to 40, because that's where we're lacking. If you look in the charts and everything, you'll see that our Black community areas have the lowest turnouts in registration. So we need to change that. And Muskegon and Michigan are one of the states that can make or break the vote this year. So we really need to stand up and speak up, especially right here in Muskegon. We are a thriving city. We can do better. I just want to encourage everybody to get out and vote. I have a contest that I'm going to start, so if you guys would love to share it, if they bring 10 people to you to register to vote and sign up for do their absentee ballot, I have a special gift card for them. So, but they have to have 10 people though, and bring it to you and have them all signed and filled out. Let's try to make these last couple of weeks till November the 3rd, well, a month really. Let's make them count. And that's the only way they understand the importance of voting. We get out there, especially have them all signed and drive. I can say Muskegon has really been doing an awesome job lately. Yesterday I saw, I think it was Michigan Works. They were out at the gas stations. Next weekend I have off. We're going to hit the projects, knock on door to door, and have people sign up right then and there. You have to be able to go out and do the work. We have to make sure that we are out here on a daily basis explaining to our youth that this is very important. So I'm just asking everybody to take what you got today. And I know it's very few of us, and I'm pretty sure all of us are ones that vote, but take this information back to those that don't vote. And let's bring them out. So thank you. And our next guest is going to be Ms. Cassie Petty. So I'm going to ask her to come up here to speak. She has been an activist in Muskegon for a long time, a political activist and a very hard worker, and one of my mentors.
Surprise. I am just honored to be here, and I'm telling everyone that I see on the streets, everybody that I greet, that this is an election that we are voting for our survival. And this is one that we all must
All signed and filled
talk
out.
to
Let's try to make
family and friends. We have been working tirelessly. I've been working tirelessly since May the 16th. I've been meeting with pastors. I've been meeting with different organizations and talking to them. I'm not really telling them, I'm just putting the facts on the line of how important this is and what we have to lose. We cannot lose this one. This is, like I say, we are voting for our existence. And so I'm encouraging everyone that I speak to, talk to take their family and friends to the polls, get them signed up, and I'm the kind of person that I take stuff to heart. I'm a people person, and I care about what happens to Muskegon. I care about what happens to the rest of this country. And I know we in the Muskegon County can play a significant part in making a difference in this vote. And we have to have Brian. I told him I would love, and when he gets inaugurated, I'm going to be there with my great-grandsons and great-granddaughters. And so I just want to thank you so kindly for having me to speak. And let's get all our family and friends, and let's do it. Let's make this happen.
Thank you so much for those powerful words, both of you all. Thank you for having us and hosting us. My name is Genesis B. I'm a hip hop artist and a activist from Biloxi, Mississippi. All right. I know you're probably thinking, where's her twang? I lost my twang. I moved to New York and I lost it. So part of my activism work has been to remove the Confederate emblem from the Mississippi state flag. Been working really hard for the last 5 years with my collaborators, Anjanou Ellis, Leah Campbell, Mississippi Rising Coalition, Poor People's Campaign. And I'm really proud to say, as of June the 30th, 2020, Mississippi has retired that flag. Yeah, for sure, you can clap for that. That work didn't start with us. You know, my ancestors fought against that flag. That flag was up for 120 years. And change happened this year, 2020. So I say that to tell y'all that change is coming and change is happening. As we sit here right now, change is happening. Sometimes when you're so close to the struggle, it's hard for you to see the victories. So I come to bear witness to you that change is happening. I come to bear witness all the way from Mississippi. And if it can happen in Mississippi, it can happen all across the nation and all across the world. Because Mississippi is a microcosm of our nation. Police exoneration and mass incarceration. Black and brown bodies, a commodity. Mothers separated from babies, border policy. It's like that White House is painted in the Klan's ideology, and our leadership is exploiting white poverty. Keeping us separate and divided, gay versus straight, white versus black, based off of fear and far from the facts. See, I hail from a state called the mighty Mississippi. It's the land of unsolved murder mystery. I'm triggered by the trauma in my own family history. Because my dad was only 5 when a Klan drive-by bust bullets into his house with 6 children inside. On the back of the truck, a Confederate flag flying high. And these are the truths that some choose to deny. See, Mississippi, like America, eats your child and mine. The white supremacist lie is a prison of their own design. They forfeited their humanity in order to deny mine. It's crazy how that works. See, white supremacy is a lie. Some have accepted it. A Confederate curse they inherited. Bigotry is blinding, and their fear of the other has blocked their own blessings from their sisters and brothers. Outrage, fatigue, I'm screaming, I can't breathe. From the top, it trickles down, from our judges to police. Because the illusion of freedom is far more dangerous than any jail cell or cramped cages. Yes, Mississippi is a microcosm of my nation, where cowards replace white sheets with fake avatars, repeating their parents' folklore, Tooth Fairy, Santa Claus. The history's whitewashed. Google black codes and bylaws in the comment section. Sound off, sound off. Lord, they sound off, don't they? They call me the N-word, a B, and the like. Call me whatever you like. I've been through worse in this fight, and the hatred in your words just proves that I'm right. Because Mississippi is a microcosm of a country that always needed me but never wanted me. My melanin and skin is a sin sentenced to build your economy. Pack the prisons, fill the quota, make us felons, never voters. Travel bans and deportation, killer cops, no resignations. Just federal indictments and mock trials, you see. My heart bleeds as the billboard reads, make America white again as my favorite rapper concedes. Kanye. Making me question everything that I believe. But still, I love America because I have hope. Some choose to jump ship, but some steer the boat. See, I know that love and humanity lives in the smile of every child and the heart of every kid. So be brave enough to break the curse. We need you at the polls, out in droves, fighting against the bigots you oppose. Study law, run for office, make a call, write your Congress. Use your voice and choose a march. Malcolm's gone, grab the torch. You can read a book, write a rap. Just speak with truth and deal with facts. Because freedom and justice are under attack. Alt-right affiliation of Trump's administration, Confederate infiltration, neo-Nazi showing faces. Just fueling the fear and the hatred while expanding their corporations. Do you see now how Mississippi is a microcosm of my nation? I'm Genesis B, y'all. Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name is Brandon. Happy to be with you. I'm with the Vote Common Good team, and it's a real honor to be able to travel and meet with so many great people like all of you across this country. So, and sometimes when you travel across the country, you meet a lot of people. Some who you understand where they're coming from, and some who it's a little harder sometimes. Sometimes you feel like you're in a place that you don't quite fit in a country you want to be better at times. Looking for a little bit of a light down the road. "31 years, got a few friends I can trust. Got a couple more, baby, but we don't talk that much. I got a woman, thank God, she's the best I've ever seen. Well, she keeps me rolling like an 18-wheel machine. And I'm on the road. And hey, America, see, I'm looking for a sign. Hey, America, just a little sign of a light. See, I'm an Indiana boy with a heart that won't sit still. Yeah, my cup is running over, but I still ain't got my fill. So won't you pray for me, Mary, that I keep my spirit right? And can you Help me, Jesus, when I want to give up this fight. 'Cause I'm on the road. I'm rolling on. And I'm on the road. Hey, America, see, I'm looking for a sign. Hey, America, just a little sign of life. Hey, America, see, you've been living by faith and not by sight. Driving through the mountains in the middle of the night. There's this rain coming down, but I think I'll be alright. Hey, America, hey, America, hey, America.
Well, hey everybody. My name is Christy Burkhoff, and I don't usually get to take the mic when we come to Muskegon, so grateful to be here. So I was born and raised in Holland. Many of you know that. And I was raised in primarily a Christian, conservative, Republican, white, middle class bubble. But the people were good. These were good people who raised me. And they taught me values like honesty and decency, kindness, empathy, respect, truth, service, and hard work, and to be mindful of my words because they have the power to hurt or to heal. Well, eventually I went off to college and I studied political science. And after that, I went to Washington, D.C. to work for a Republican member of Congress. And two things happened to me while I was there. First, I had a transformation of my faith. See, growing up, my faith was primarily this thing that existed in my head. It was about accepting a certain set of theological assumptions. But my faith moved to my heart. And it began to inform the work of my hands and my feet. The other thing that happened to me while I was in Washington, D.C. is I was no longer living in this bubble. I was suddenly exposed to a variety of people from a variety of backgrounds. I was surrounded by racial diversity and political diversity and theological diversity and religious diversity, and these people were beautiful. And I also began to become aware of a lot of different types of brokenness that were woven into our systems, things that I previously wasn't aware of. And so I got to this point where I could no longer work on Capitol Hill for my Republican member of Congress because I began to see that many of the policies I was working for were harmful to people. And so I decided I cannot stand on the Republican platform. I cannot stand on the Democrat platform. I want to stand on the platform where Jesus is standing. So I went to seminary. I met my husband, Brian, there. And we've now been in ministry for over 15 years. We have 4 kids. And, you know, as we've been in ministry in rural settings and urban settings, We've gotten to be invited into people's lives and become increasingly aware of the brokenness and of systemic injustice. Well, eventually that path took us back home, back to Holland, Michigan, back to my hometown. And soon after we moved back, this man, Donald Trump, was running for president. And you know, the good people of my hometown loved him. And I couldn't understand it because not only did this man seem so out of touch with human realities and human struggles, but he was callous and indifferent towards them. He was the antithesis of all those values I had been taught as a child. And I didn't know how to explain this to my kids. And I began to ask these questions. Why are so many hardworking Americans struggling to survive? Why at a time when poverty is swelling, do we have a president who is cutting back on food assistance programs? And why is he intentionally implementing cruel border policies, separating families, heaping trauma on top of trauma? And how, in the name of God, are we throwing so many Black and brown bodies in prison for profit at globally unprecedented rates? And at a time when our planet is in crisis with contaminated drinking water and fires raging and farms in drought and coastal communities submerging and severe weather patterns exploding and temperatures rising and famine growing, even as the whole world is and the scientific community is calling on us to participate in creation care, why are we rolling back environmental protections? And how can it be that our political leaders find it acceptable to shovel money into the grumbling, bottomless, bulging belly of corporate greed while denying the starved, twisting bellies of hungry children right here in our country? And how can it be that in the United States, bankruptcy is often the price you have to pay for health care? And since when is it acceptable for our president to lie on a daily basis and to throw that word fake in front of any person or entity who tries to hold him accountable to truth and good governing? And when is it become acceptable to utilize toxic division as a strategy to maintain power? And why are so many systems designed to benefit those who are already doing well and to oppress those who struggle? How did we arrive at this place where democracy belongs to the highest bidders and serves the highest bidders? As a mom, I just don't know how to explain this to my kids. And so I wonder, is there a way to move forward? Can we cut a new path to a new kind of future? I think for our children, we have to find a way. For the next generation, we have to find a way. I think we can change the story. And we change the story when we lift up the voices that have been historically kept away from the tables of dialogue and decision. We change the story when we respond to false, shallow sound bites with human-centered stories. We change the story when we replace fear-based narratives with hopeful ones. We change the story when instead of moving further right or further left, we say, no, we're going to move deeper into these issues. We change the story when we express that we value people over profits and party. We change the story when we declare immigrants are a blessing, not a burden. We change the story when we beat our weaponized rhetoric into plowshares, into tools that break through that crusty ground and plant seeds of life and light and truth. We change the story when we seek what is right over needing to be right. We change the story when we refuse to bow to the God of money and power and instead we bow to the God who serves and moves among the least of those among us. We change the story when we refuse to utilize fear-based messaging to maintain loyalty, and instead we draw people in with a wider embrace and a more expansive welcome. We change the story when we shine a light so bright and cast a vision of hope so beautiful that people run to participate in all its possibilities. We are a country in crisis. People are dying because some of us have been too quiet for too long. And so each one of us has to find our thing and do it. And this is not a time to sit down and be quiet. Together, we must wake up and stand up and speak up and take an active role in building a world of comprehensive human flourishing. In 2020, let's change the story. Together, let's change the story. You know, at Vote Common Good, we are Republicans and Democrats and independents, and we've set our partisan labels aside to come together for the common good, and we invite you to join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. My story is pretty similar. I grew up in a wonderful Christian home, and you know, I learned so much. I learned to take the words of Jesus seriously when Jesus said to love the least of these, care for those that are oppressed, seek justice. And that's why I was so confused in 2016 when 81% of white evangelicals voted for a man that looks like the opposite of Jesus. You can read through the Beatitudes, you can read through any words of Jesus, and it's almost an exact opposite of Donald Trump. And look, I get it. Maybe Joe Biden doesn't get you real excited. We went from the most diverse group of candidates down to 2 old white men. And it is what it is. But I'd say we're not dealing with the lesser of 2 evils here. An analogy I've been using is we're looking at the country is on fire. And one candidate is holding a gas can, and the other is holding a fire hose. And Joe Biden might not be able to put out all the fires, but at least he's not trying to make it worse. So I wrote a song a while back to my brothers and sisters and siblings in the white evangelical world. And while it uses some of the prophetic language from Isaiah and words from Jesus, that may be a little harsh. At the heart of it is a deep well of love calling my brothers and sisters home. It's just called Hymn for the 81%. I grew up in your churches, Sunday morning and evening service, knelt in tears at the foot of the rugged cross. You taught me every life is sacred, feed the hungry and clothe the naked. I learned from you the highest law is love. And I believed you when you said I should trust the words in red to guide my steps through a wicked world. I assumed you'd do the same, so imagine my dismay when I watched you lead the sheep straight to the wolves. You said to love the lost, so I'm loving you. You said to speak the truth, so I'm calling you out. Why don't you live the words that you put in my mouth? May love overcome and justice roll down. Oh, they started putting kids in cages, ripping mothers from their babies. And I look to you to speak on their behalf. Oh, but all I heard was silence. Or worse, you justified it. The singing glory, hallelujah, raise the flag. See, your fear turned to hatred, but they baptized it with language torn from the pages of the good book. You weaponize religion, and you wonder why I'm leaving to find Jesus on the wrong side of your walls. And you said to love the lost, so I'm loving you now. You said to speak the truth, so I'm calling you out. Why don't you live the words that you put in my mouth? May love overcome and justice roll down. Come home, come home. You're better than this. You taught me better than this. Come home, come home. You're better than this. You taught me better than this. Come home. Come home. Whoa. Softly and tender, Jesus is calling. Calling, oh children, come home. You said to love the lost, I'm trying to love you now. You said to speak the truth, that's why I'm calling you out. Why don't you live the words that you put in my mouth? May love overcome and justice roll down. 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 Thank you so much.
Yeah, I know he just told you, but that's Dan Dietrich, and he wrote that song, he said a while ago, but it was like in January, and put it up on YouTube, and we looked the other day, and there have been 700,000 views of that song, because it taps in somewhere, right? It says something that we know to be true, and it grabs people and says there's something more that we're called to. This is a part of the night that I really like. I like to call it my Harvey Milk part of the night, because I'm here to recruit you. We're not just here to encourage you, but we want to take you along with us. I mentioned to you that we drive along in that big bus all around the country, and we think that there's 4 things that get us around this country. Now, 3 of them are pretty obvious to you. You probably already know that, right? It's faith, hope, and love. But you know what the 4th thing is that gets us around this country? Diesel. Diesel moves that bus around the country, and we'd love to have you in the tank with us. Now, there's a couple of ways you can get in that tank with us. We can bring over a gallon of diesel, or you can make a contribution over there at the table, and we'll turn all of that into what we call bus miles. So you put a little smile on that bus, we turn it into bus miles, and we drive. So we'd love to take you with us. Whether you're watching online, people that are, go over to that link down below at votecommongood.com and click on the donate button, and all the money goes to get us around this country to hold events like this. For people that are here, we'd also love for you to do the same thing. We take all the ways of payment. We take cash, credit cards, Venmo, PayPal. We'd even barter for beaver pelts, if you still do that up in this part of the country. We'd love to have you travel along with us and take you with us. But it's not just for collecting money over there. We also want to give you a few things. We want to send you home with a yard sign. I don't know who you're going to be voting for your state auditor. I don't know who you're going to be voting for your school board member. But if you're voting for Joe Biden or if you're voting for Brian Burkhoff, we'd love to see you put a "I will vote faith, hope, and love" sign in your yard so that it starts to amplify that message. I'd also love for you to go home with one of these packets. Now, we're super excited about this. I want to take a minute and tell you about it. It's 15 postcards, 3 different styles of them that all have a message on the side. This one says, "Love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy." It's 1 Corinthians 13. This card says, faith not fear, hope not hate, love not lies. And this one says the fruit of the Spirit. Now, they all have an invitation on them for this next election. An invitation to stop Donald Trump and to elect a good person like Brian Burkhoff to office, by the way. So you can write his name on the back. The other thing that comes in the packet are 15 names and mailing addresses of people in this congressional district that we know are faith voters. We know they're going to come out and vote. And we know you can't go door to door, but we know you can go mailbox to mailbox, amen? So we want you to take a packet of these home, put your own message on the back. They're designed as a postcard. You write your own message. Put their address on it, write a note, mail them out. We've got hundreds of people doing this all over the country, sending thousands of postcards into this congressional district because we want to send a consistent message that faith, hope, and love is going to bring about a change on Election Day. So we'd really love for you to go home with a set of these packets. We've done most of the work, but not nearly enough. We need all of you. We need you to take these packets home, fill these things out, put your own stamp on them, and deliver them to the people in this congressional district and see if we can make a change. So please go home with buttons, go home with postcards, and here's why. Because people need to be invited into something. Now, I don't know if you're all that political. Like I said, I'm a pastor. That's what I've done for work. I've never done anything like this. I'm not traveling around as a political character. But I think this really matters, and I know that a lot of people are scared, and a lot of people feel alone. And when you're scared and alone, you tend to freeze up. So what we want you to do is to wake up and speak up and stand up, as Christy said, and to get out and encourage people that they can wake up, that they can speak up, and that they can stand up. So if whatever you've been doing, whatever you've been saying, please don't feel like you're saying or doing too much. We have 46 days, I think that's right, 46 days until this election. So every day, say it a little louder, with a little more love, and with a little more passion, and we know that there's going to be change coming on Election Day. Now, all of us are doing what we can, but there's 2 people here tonight that have done something a little bit more, a little bit differently than the rest of us. They've not only said that they want to encourage people to vote, but they've made the proud step of stepping out and saying, not only do I want you to vote, I want you to vote for me. And that is a big step. And if you've ever tried this, I tried it once, and I got to tell you, it's a hard thing to do. It's hard enough to go and tell someone to vote and tell them not to vote for that person, but when you have to ask them to vote for you, that takes a real sense of courage. So we're really proud of both of you for doing that, and you're going to hear from both of them in a minute. So first, it's my privilege and honor to introduce to you the next congressman from Michigan's 2nd District, Brian Burkhoff. Brian, thanks for being here, buddy. And you have your own shower cap? We refer to these as little shower caps for the microphone. Hey, let's give them that big applause again.
How y'all doing? My name is Brian Burkhoff, pastor in Holland, Michigan, and yes, here I am running for U.S. Congress in the 2nd Congressional District. So, my story is similar to some things we've heard already. I grew up right here in West Michigan, and one of my earliest memories is going to church as a kid. And it was always a little bit intimidating walking into the sanctuary as the tall windows soared overhead, the stained glass, the wood ceiling, and the organ played ominously as we made our way to find our spot in one of the wooden pews. And I knew from the hushed tones that my parents would use as soon as we entered that space and shushing us kids to keep quiet, right? That this was a serious place, it was a holy place, it was a sacred place. And in that place, we were taught certain things. We were taught kindness. We were taught love. We were taught things like humility. We would hear teachings like consider others better than yourselves and love your neighbor as yourself. And we were taught that honesty was foundational and that God wanted us to always tell the truth. I was taught to follow Jesus and to do the things that Jesus did. And so this early life, grounded in faith, sort of paved the way for me to eventually enter seminary. You've heard a little bit of that, where I met my wife, and then enter into the ministry. And I've been a pastor now for 15 years. And yet somewhere along the way, certain questions began to enter into my mind. And the things that I had been handed and taught didn't quite seem to sit right with the things I was experiencing in my everyday life. I was told, well, and I forgot to mention, and this was something Christy said, that along with all these values we were taught, in the pew, we were taught that when we go to the voting booth, there's only one party to vote for. The Republican Party, the party of family and faith, as we were told. And yet, questions began to enter my mind that made this marriage between faith and politics, or faith in one particular party, I should say, begin to rest a little uneasy. I was told to vote pro-life, and yet I looked at many of the policies that I was supporting, and they seemed to make life actually harder for people. I was told that invading and bombing a country that had never attacked us was the thing that God wanted us to do, and that it would make us more free. And I began to have a feeling in my stomach that something wasn't right. You know that feeling. And I met people who were a lot different than me. People whose skin color was different, people who were white, people who loved someone of the same gender, and people who would experience challenges I never faced. People who would face obstacles and institutional structures and systems that were designed to make success harder for them. Things I never had to face as someone who was white and straight and male. Also Dutch in West Michigan. I'll just throw that in. And things that couldn't be solved by what our line was, well, just pull up yourself by your bootstraps. But that just began to ring hollow. And so the world was more complicated than I'd been led to believe, and I began to wrestle with how my faith informed what was happening in the public square. Jesus wouldn't turn us against our neighbors because of the color of their skin or who they loved. Jesus wouldn't support an economy that privileges the wealthy at the expense of so many others. Jesus would not support lying to improve your political standing. And so it breaks my heart when I see many of the people who taught me these values early on in my life suddenly supporting an individual who represents none of those values, who makes a mockery of those values, who in fact uses religion as a prop after he tear gasses his own citizens. And it breaks my heart when political power becomes more important than human goodness. It breaks my heart when tribalism and dishonesty overtakes our better interests. It breaks my heart when instead of loving our neighbor, we're taught to fear our neighbors. And it breaks my heart when winning is more important than doing what is right. And so to be honest, I don't really care what political party you affiliate with. I care about what values inform your vote. And so I'm here. Many of us are here, right, to reaffirm a number of basic values. Goodness, decency, honesty, integrity, character, compassion. And I know things are frustrating right now. Things are challenging. We wake up every day, and if you look at the news or you look at an app on your phone, you get frustrated, you get overwhelmed, and you think, what is happening in this country right now? But friends, I believe good things are afoot despite all of the challenges that we see. I believe the arc of the universe is long, but it does bend toward justice. Over 50 years ago, Robert F. Kennedy said that all around us, the old order of things is crumbling, and a new world is struggling to take shape. And I believe that's true again today. The old order is characterized by narrow thinking, misinformed nostalgia. Make America Great, anyone? Misinformed nostalgia and white supremacy. That's the old way. The new way must be shaped by wisdom, compassion, and justice for all. The old way says my life matters. The new way says the life of my neighbor matters too. The old way says that those with the most wealth should have the loudest voice. The new way says we must listen again to those too long neglected. And so a new world, I believe, is coming into being all across this country and also here in West Michigan. There is a new consciousness afoot, and I see it when I march with hundreds of others in Jenison, Michigan, of all places, saying Black Lives Matter. I see this new consciousness when an older gentleman pulls into our driveway when he sees our Joe Biden sign and in tears says to my wife that he voted for Donald Trump and he regrets it and he's ready for a new way. I see this new consciousness in the young people who are leading us on so many fronts, whether it's climate change, racial reconciliation, healthcare, or gun violence. I see this new consciousness in the many conservatives I talk to all across West Michigan who are ready to vote Democrat for the first time in their lives because of the values that we share. And so here I am, a husband, a father, a pastor, not a politician. I didn't decide to get into this race because I love politics, frankly. I decided to get into this race because I love my neighbor. I didn't get into this race so much because my voice matters. I got into this race because all our voices matter, and for too long, our voices have not been heard. I decided to run because in this election, democracy is on the ballot. In this election, character is on the ballot. In this election, truth is on the ballot. In this election, the future of our children and our planet is on the ballot. And I decided to run because the way of Jesus compelled me to do so. Thank you. And if you have interest in helping us win in November, we've got yard signs over there. We've got information on the table. Please help us get the word out. This district has not had a Democrat in, I believe, around 8 decades. So it's time to make some history, friends. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Darius Mitchell, and I am a delegate for precinct number 2 in Muskegon Heights, Michigan. So a proud Democrat, but overall, I am here to be a change agent. My job is to get people to vote, educate them about voting, so this is what I'm here to do. This is so much bigger than Black Lives Matter. This is so much bigger than All Lives Matter. At the end of the day, this is an issue of right and wrong. So what we need to get people to do is to understand exactly what's happening, but more importantly, what's at stake during this election. It's bigger than just picking a president. The things that will happen will set precedents or have a determining effect moving forward for ourselves and for our children. So, you have any information that you want it disseminated, I'm your guy. If there's, you have resources for getting people transportation to go vote, please give me those things so I can get those things out. If you know of special, as far as the absentee voting, where exactly they can take those ballots to, or any information about exactly how to do it via mail, give me those things. People, information is power. So we need to empower ourselves as well as our communities to vote the right way and to vote properly. So many votes every year aren't counted simply because they don't sign their names right or they don't take them to the right place. So the people like ourselves who understand these things or have those resources, it's our responsibility to make sure that we get them the education that they need, remove any barriers to make sure that this November things go our way. So if I haven't got a chance to meet you, which I don't think I've met anyone yet, make sure that I do that so I can also be a change agent for you. So anything you have for your campaign that you would like to give to me so I can get those things out, please do so. Again, my name is Darius Mitchell, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Now, I'll tell you what, we've been doing this all over the country. We've never met a Darius. There's never been somebody whose job it is to help get the vote out. That's fantastic news, Darius. We're really excited about that. Thank you for being here. Our final part of the night is we're going to do this thing called the Love in Politics Pledge. I got to tell you, the country's fallen. The country has fallen out of love. And we want the country to get back into love, and especially have a little more love in politics. So we have this pledge that we ask people to take. You've got it on your seat there. If you go to votecommongood.com, you'll find it. It has 4 calls to it. For you as a voter, this is not a pledge that we're going to be, that we're asking politicians to take. So Brian, we're not asking you to take this as a politician. We are asking you to take it as a voter. And it's this, that you as a voter will call on all elected leaders to comport themselves in ways consistent with love in their public and professional lives. We think it's not too much to ask politicians to act in a way of love if they want to represent you. Secondly, that you will lend your verbal support to any politician who does. Whether you're going to vote for them or not, but tell them thank you. Tell them I support the fact that you're acting in a way consistent with love. Thirdly, that you will stand up to and call for a change from any leaders who violate the virtues of love, whether they're in your party or someone else's. So Brian, we're going to have to come to you if you're a congressman. When you're a congressman, if you don't act in a way of love, and we're going to ask you to change, then we know that you will. And fourth, that you will call on all elected officials to demand that other elected officials act in a way of love. No more of this, well, I wouldn't tweet it that way. And then, on the back of the card, we have these statements of love. They come from 1 Corinthians 13. So I invite you to stand up with us. It's going to work out pretty well tonight because you get to warm up here in West Michigan. And we get to say this together. It's read like this. Love is patience. Say it with me now. Love is kind. There we go. Love does not envy. Love does not boast. Love is not proud. Love does not dishonor others. Love is not self-seeking. Love is not easily angered. Love keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil. Love rejoices with the truth. Love always protects. Love always trusts. Love always hopes. And love always perseveres. Don't you think we should fall back into love in our politics? I think that's kind of the way we can be. Hey, we've got one more little song for you, and we'll call it a night. Thanks for being with us.
Let the light keep it shining. Let it break into the darkness. All the love there's us to see will all be free. Let the light keep it shining. Let it break into the darkness. All the love there's us to see will all be free. Yeah. Let the light keep it shining. Let it break into the darkness. All the love there's us to see will all be free. Yes, we'll all be free. Oh, we'll all be free. Yes, we'll all be free. Have a great night. Faith, hope, and love for a change on Election Day. We'll see you soon.